behind.
Yes, sir.
Now we're fearing that we'll never arrive.
Arrive.
Yes, please
Same
go on.
thing.
Yes.
Then there is the fear of not being, which translates itself in identification with. I must identify myself.
In order to be.
To be. Let me identify myself with my country. And I say to myself, that's too stupid. Then I say I must identify myself with God, which I've invented. God has not made man in his image. Man has made God in his image.
Yes, oh, I follow you.
So, not being, not achieving, not arriving, brings about tremendous sense of uncertainty, tremendous sense of not being able to fulfill, not being able to be with. And the cry, I must be myself.
Do my own thing.
My own thing, which is rubbish. So there are all these fears, both logical fears, irrational fears, neurotic fears, and fears of survival, physical survival. So, now how do you deal with all these fears and many more fears which you can't go into, which we will presently? How do you deal with them all? One by one?
Well, you would just be in the mournful round of fragmentation if you did that. Yeah.
And also there is the fear, hidden fears.
Yes.
Which are much more active.
But continual bubbling up from below.
Up, when I'm not conscious, they take over.
That's right.
So how am I to deal first with the obvious fears which we have described? Shall I deal it one by one? First secure myself. You follow?
Yes.
Or take loneliness and tackle that, come to grips with it, go beyond it and so on. Or is there a way of dealing with fear, not with the branches of it, but with the root of it? Because if I take each leaf, each branch, it'll take all my lifetime. And if I begin to analyze my fears, then that very analysis becomes a paralysis.
And then I even fear that I might not have analyzed correctly.
Correctly. And I'm caught over and over again. So how shall I deal with this problem? As a whole, not just parts of it, fragments of it.
Isn't there a hint about how it might be dealt with? Of course, when I say hint here, I mean terribly slight. I don't think I would call it a pointer. But fear, no matter how many varieties one imagines he knows, fear does have a common taste, you might say.
Yes.
There is something there. That,
yes, sir, but what shall I do with it?
Oh, yes, of course, I quite understand. But it interested me while you were speaking to observe that already when we think of many fears, we haven't even paid attention to how we fear when we fear.
Yes.
I was interested to have that flash because it seems to be altogether consonant with what you're talking about. And I said to myself, now, in our conversations we've been pointing to movement. The movement of fear is one.
Yes, a tremendous one.
And it is a unified field of destruction.
It is the common factor of every human being.
The whole thing, yes, exactly, exactly.
Whether man lives in Moscow or in India or in any place, it is the common thing of this fear. And how shall he deal with it? Because unless the mind is free of fear, really, not verbally or ideologically, absolutely be free of fear. And it is possible to be free completely of fear. I'm saying this not as a theory, but I know it. I've gone into it very deeply.
Actual. Yes.
Now, how shall I deal with this? So I ask myself, what is fear? Not the objects of fear or the expressions of fear.
No, or the instant reaction to danger. No.
What is fear?
It's an idea in my mind, in part.
What is fear, sir?
If we have said it's an abiding...
No, behind the words, behind the description, the explanations, the way out and the way in and all the rest of it, what is fear? How does it come?
If I followed you through our conversations up until now, I'd be inclined to say that it is another expression of the observer's disordered relation to the observer.
What does that mean? What is the what you say? Look, the problem is this. I'm only making the problem clearer so that we
yes.
Man has tried to lop off or prune one fear after the other. Through analysis, through escape, through identifying himself with something which is called courage, or saying, well, I don't care, I rationalize my fears and remain in a state of rationalized, intellectual, verbal explanation, but the thing is boiling. So what shall I do? What is fear? Unless I find this out, not because you tell me, unless I find it out for myself, as I find for myself that I am hungry. Nobody has to tell me I'm hungry. I have to find this out.
Yes, now there's a difference here in terms of what you have just said. And in so saying, pointing to something. And my earlier reply, when you asked me what is fear, I did the usual academic thing. If I have followed you up until now, then it seems clear that. Whereas, let's forget about the following. Let's zero in on it right now, and then I must say, not I might say, but I must say that I can't tell anybody else what fear is with respect to what it is I am going to discover in me as such. And all my continual descriptions about it are simply a deflection from my immediate issue, which is here.
Yes.
Yes.
So, I am not escaping.
No.
I am not rationalizing. I am not analyzing. Because analysis is real paralysis.
Yes, indeed.
When you're confronted with a problem like this, merely spinning, going on, analyzing, and the fear of not being able to analyze perfectly, and therefore go to a professional